Sport Today.
Live from the BBC Sports Centre, this is Sport Today with me, Chris Mitchell. Here's what's coming up for you. A temporary escape. This is Wembley Stadium, ready, as the French captain says, to carry on is the right thing to do. There are flowers for the French as they give a sombre pre-match news conference ahead of their training. And England's footballers, they pay their respects as they ready themselves for Tuesday's match. And coming up, Andy Murray began his ATP World Tour Finals campaign with a convincing win over Spain's David Ferrer in London. Carrying on is the right thing to do. In the wake of the attacks on Paris on Friday, France will play England at Wembley on Tuesday. Hello there. Hugo Lloris, the France football captain, has backed the decision made by the French Football Federation to fulfil their fixture with England. Our sports correspondent Joe Wilson is at Wembley Stadium in London ahead of the game.
Well, the French players trained here at Wembley on Monday evening, trying by their own admission just to get their head into the idea that they will play a game of football here against England on Tuesday night. The media conference was sombre, different, really different from the normal build-up to an international game. Lots of talk from the French manager about duty, about responsibility to the French nation above all else to come here and play this game. Now, the president of the French Federation essentially made the decision and the players have gone along with it. If left to their own devices completely, would they have been happy to come here and play? I'm not totally sure about that. As it was, we are here, this game will go on, and there is a lot of talk of the solidarity that it will represent. Definitely will be a unique occasion. Security has been stepped up, armed police, but it's designed not to be stifling. And there is a hope that this ground will be nearly full and will resound to the sound of La Marseillaise, sung by English voices as well as French.
Tomorrow will be a great moment of solidarity. The last 3 days were a bit dramatic, and I think we were in a morning all together, and we spent time in Clairefontaine all together, and I think our president had the best decision to play this game, and it will be an opportunity for us to show character and through that game, and we will share this moment with all the English people.
Well, the England squad here have paid their respects to the victims of the attacks in Paris. The England players and coaching staff observed a minute's silence before they started their training session in North London. Incidentally, Prince William, who wasn't scheduled to attend, has also announced that after Friday's attacks, he will be at Wembley too.
As a manager and a coach, and I speak also for the players, we were totally and utterly in the hands of Martin and Noel Le Gret. The decision, whatever the decision would have been, we would have respected that decision. I understand fully, and Martin's explained it very well, I think, that, you know, the French authorities had a very clear opinion on the subject and they wanted the game to go ahead. So for us, of course, it's very easy to go along with that, and as a result, you know, we'll do our best to make a really good game of it, but we can't deny the seriousness of the occasion. We can't deny the fact that this game is special. It's not a normal friendly because it's occurring only 4 days, is it, after, you know, this unbelievable terror attack, and unfortunately that's going to be lingering over everybody, whether we like it or not.
It'll be tough, I'm sure, for the French players, but I'm sure it'll be a chance for them to try and do the country proud, and you know, I'm sure that all the players have felt the last few days deeply, and they'll give everything they can to make France proud, and likewise we'll represent England and, you know, show our respect to France at this time.
The match tomorrow is going to have massive global significance. It's the first big event that's happened since the tragedy of last Friday. So that's why I think it's important for us to be totally supportive of them, to do something great together, to demonstrate that terrorism can't win. And the eyes of the world are going to be on Wembley tomorrow, not just the French and the English people.
OK, while that has been going on, UEFA has issued a statement this Monday that confirmed Euro 2016 will go ahead as planned in France next year. And the draw for the competition will take place on the 12th of December in Paris. Well, Jérôme Pugmire is a journalist based in the French capital. He was at the match at the Stade de France on Friday night that was attacked by 3 bombers. He told me why the decision to go ahead with Euro 2016 and the one to fulfil the French fixture with England came as no surprise.
There was no way they were going to cancel the game because they perceived that as giving in to the terrorists who'd done the attacks. And this is also a show of defiance from the French that, you know, they're standing up to this. The decision was taken, it seems, however, without the consultation of the players, and it was taken solely by the French Federation President, Noël Le Graët. I first heard the first explosion around about 9:20. Having been to many, many games and seen a lot of things in stadiums and outside of stadiums, agricultural devices, bangers going off, things like that, I wasn't necessarily flustered. It didn't really register, but the second bang was extremely loud and clear, and that was when it dawned on me that something might be happening, and you could hear a few sirens, and the helicopter that was outside the stadium was now hovering over the stadium, and it became clear that something very terrible had happened. And obviously through social media and before half-time everybody knew, and everybody was on their phones. All the journalists were making phone calls. Despite what happened, it was proved on Friday that security is working, because 1 or 2 of the bombers tried to get inside the stadium and they didn't. What happened outside the stadium is unfortunately out of control of any authorities, so they couldn't predict what was going to happen. So they're very defiant and insistent that the tournament's going to go ahead. But what I fear is if there's another incident before the tournament, then that may have to be reconsidered. The mood is extremely sad, and what I noticed, I took the underground yesterday, and there was an overwhelming silence, people staring into the distance, kind of looking, trying to find some reason why this happened, and unable to comprehend it. I went to Place de la République, and it was very solemn there, people paying their respects and gathering their thoughts. Obviously, it's a very, very sad time, a very deeply concerning time as well. And I think people they're shell-shocked, but they're also defiant. I mean, the authorities said don't go out of your homes if you can avoid it, but people are coming together and they're going out in the streets, and they're trying to carry on as normal, even though obviously this is very difficult.
The Republic of Ireland are hoping to make it to France next summer, and they're one good game away from doing so. They face Bosnia on Monday night in Dublin in the second leg of their playoff, after the two sides drew 1-1 in Zenica last week. Now, Martin O'Neill's side could progress on the away goals rule if it finished 0-0, but he says he's not interested in that.
I think that we have to try and win the game. I think that's it. That has to be in our mindset to win the game. I think Bosnia are capable of scoring. I think any team is capable of getting a goal at some stage or another, but Bosnia in particular. And I think if we set out with any other mindset, then things couldn't work out for you.
Time now to round up some of the day's other news in brief for you. And the England coach, Roy Hodgson, there he is. He says that England's match against France at Wembley on Tuesday won't be a normal friendly. That's following the attacks in Paris. Peyton Manning, it was bound to happen. He's now the National Football League's all-time leading passer. A 4-yard pass for him he completed to Ronnie Hillman in the first quarter of his side's game with the Kansas City Chiefs. Inbee Park, she's at it again. Here she is, holding out for her 5th win of the season, a 3-stroke victory at the Lorena Ochoa Invitational in Mexico. And the defending champions, the Czech Republic, what have they been doing? I'll tell you, They've been winning the Fed Cup again, and in some style. They beat Russia 3-2. A decisive doubles match came from a set down to win. They had to. It's the fourth Fed Cup for them in 5 years. Stay with us on Sport today, because after the break, it's your chance to vote for your BBC African Footballer of the Year. We get the lowdown on the striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
When you travel well, you come closer together. Cathay Pacific. Life well travelled.
Who will you crown BBC African Footballer of the Year 2015? You can vote at bbc.com/African Football or by SMS on +44 77 86 20 20 08. Text 1 for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Text 2 for Andre Ayew. Text 3 for Yassin Brahimi. Text 4 for Sadio Mane. Or text 5 for Yaya Toure. BBC African Footballer of the Year. Love African football.
In the wake of the financial crisis, interest rates were cut globally to boost growth. But if America now starts to raise them again, what will that mean for the rest of the world?
With the USA offering better returns, investors might decide to move their money there and out of countries such as India.
Emerging economies like Brazil would find their currencies falling as investors sell up and buy dollars.
Many African countries have high levels of dollar debt, and so a rise in US interest rates could increase the repayment costs.
Across Asia and Europe, weaker countries may have to raise their interest rates to stop prices from rising, and that could stifle growth.
Some argue that if America's rate rises are small and gradual, the rest of the world could cope. But we don't really know for sure until US rates start to go up.
Business on the BBC. Make the connection.
Hello there, welcome back live to the BBC Sports Centre. I'm Chris Mitchell and you're watching Sport Today. These are our headlines. Hugo Lloris, the France football captain, says he backs the decision for his side to play England at Wembley as planned. And there are flowers for the French as they give a sombre pre-match news conference ahead of Tuesday's game at Wembley. OK, voting is now underway for the 2015 BBC African Footballer of the Year award. Details of how to vote are coming up for you, but let's introduce you to our first nominee. He's had a fantastic year of scoring goals for club and country. He's a sharp dresser too, who is on our shortlist for the third year running. Who is he? Well, he's the Gabon and Borussia Dortmund striker Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang.
Of course, I'm very happy, very proud. That's why I choose to play for Gabon to represent Africa. Being a successor to the Drogba and the Eto'os is a great thing. But now the thing to do is to win awards. I'm really happy to be nominated. And this time, I hope to win. If I win, I think I will take the trophy to Gabon and I will celebrate with the people of my country. My father told me, if you really want to score in every game, you can score in every match. But you need a really extreme level of concentration. But it's true that I told my brother that I was going to score 3 goals, and it happened. I also sent messages to all my family telling them that I would score another hat-trick. They didn't believe me, but I scored them. 2 games, 3 days.
Pretty good.
I think when I was a kid, I scored lots of goals and I knew that it would come back one day. Before, they said that I was quick, but wasn't great with my feet. So I wanted to prove to everyone that that wasn't true. I think maybe one day, yes, I'll leave to play in another league because my dream is to play in Spain. But for the moment, I'm 100% concentrated on Dortmund. I just signed a new deal until 2020. After that, I have this dream to play in Spain.
Outside football, I love shopping, buying things, and I really love cars. Cars that go fast. Since I was very small, it's been this: cars and football.
And your children, are they old enough now to know what Daddy does? Football player, can they watch the games?
My son? Yeah.
He loves coming to the stadium to watch the games. And as soon as the match is finished, he recreates the games at home, but he plays instead of me. He loves football and he loves little cars.
Hello, my name is Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Please vote for me for the BBC African Footballer of the Year.
Who will you crown BBC African Footballer of the Year 2015? You can vote at bbc.com/AfricanFootball or by SMS on +44 77 86 20 20 08. Text 1 for Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Text 2 for Andre Ayew. Text 3 for Yassin Brahimi. Text 4 for Sadio Mane. Or text 5 for Yaya Toure. BBC African Footballer of the Year. Love African football.
Get voting. Britain's Andy Murray began his ATP World Tour Finals campaign with a convincing regulation win, really, over Spain's David Ferrer in London. 6-4, 6-4 the score at London's O2 Arena. And we'll next play the winner of the evening match between Stan Wawrinka and Rafael Nadal. Another victory on Wednesday would ensure Murray ends the year as world #2 for the first time.
It was a tough match, a lot of long rallies. He obviously fought right the way through to the end, as always, and made it extremely difficult for me. He didn't serve as well as he can, which helped me, and I played a little bit more solid at the end of both sets, which got me the win. I mean, obviously, you have to try and win every match. I mean, every game counts. A few years ago, I got knocked out in the group stages, I think by like 1 game or something. And yeah, you need to try to win the matches in 2 sets if you get the opportunity, which was good for me today. But I can still go out. Just because I won my first match doesn't mean there's no guarantees. And yeah, need to try and win the next one, and it'll be tough against Rafa or Stan.
Now, what a year it has been. A year to forget, perhaps, for Rafael Nadal. Remember, he's a 14 times Grand Slam champion, and he does remain one of the biggest names in the sport. But back trouble, wrist injuries, even appendicitis in 2014 means the Spaniard, well, he laboured into one of the 8 qualifying places here in London, and he arrives without a Grand Slam title. That said, our tennis correspondent Russell Fuller has told me that he thinks that Rafael Nadal is on his way back to being his best.
His form over the last 2 or 3 months has been much improved. He says he feels more relaxed on the court. He doesn't have the stress he did earlier in the season. He's been talking about that a little bit. He hasn't felt comfortable. Once he could fix that issue of stress, then he's enjoying his tennis so much more. And because he's had all those injury problems in the past and time out with knee injuries, his motivation to get back to the top of the game is very high.
Euro 2016 will go ahead in France. That's what UEFA announced today. France will play England as planned. The sporting community showing resolve in the face of the terror attacks on Friday. There will be a lot of emotion from us, said Hugo Lloris, but we are in London, we are in England, and we know that the English people are very respectful. And just here will be a great moment of solidarity. The words of the French football captain Hugo Lloris backing his nation's resolve to carry on.